Welcome back, everybody. I'm Trace. This is Damon. And today we reviewed Battle of the Sexes, starring Emma Stone and Steve Carell, respectively, playing Bobby Riggs.
Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King.
There you go. As they go head to head in a heated tennis battle that took place in real life in 1972 to 73.
72 or 73.
Yep,
like
one of those two. And yet this story tells the tale of both their lives. 73. And this film tells the tale of both their lives leading up to that fateful day. So, Damon, what did you think of the film?
It was okay. I think I said afterwards that it was good but unremarkable, which I feel like is a good characterization. It was fine. I liked watching it, but I'm not gonna, rave about it or go see it again in theaters or anything like that. I don't even know if I'll buy it when it comes out. It was fine.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel too. Right in the middle. I mean, it's fine. Not like a whole lot of problems, I guess. There's a few problems I had with the film, but nothing that stood out. Didn't make me feel like it was a bad movie. Didn't feel like didn't feel like I wasted my money going to see it. It had its moments of fun. So I'll start off with my pros. One of the biggest pros of the film is Emma Stone. I think she did a fantastic job, and I just think every movie I see her in nowadays, she's just killing it. She's doing. She obviously miles ahead of the rest of the cast. That's what I'm trying to say. In this movie, and I love Steve Carell, but I think she still outshined him, and I think it's because that her character in the story had a way bigger role, a meatier chunk.
I think this movie would have been better off being a Billie Jean King movie than a Battle of the Sexes movie, because while Steve Carell was fine, his character didn't have a whole lot to do. He was just there to be the antagonist, and he did fine. He was fine as that. But if you're gonna give her all this backstory and all these like emotional and whatever problems, then why not give him the same amount?
100%.
He didn't have the B plot of the movie was basically his relationship with his family
and his gambling problem.
Yeah,
but that's it.
Problem, which were linked, but it didn't they didn't show much of it.
No,
and there was no resolution to it or anything. It was there. It happened. Whatever.
Yep. No, and I 100% agree. I think it was Billie Jean. That's great. Billie Jean King's show with this movie, and like I said, Emma Stone killed it.
And if this had been a Billie Jean King movie, it would have been fantastic, because that's what most of the plot revolved around, was her and Emma Stone. As you said, she killed it. She was doing fantastic. Yeah. But it was just fitting Steve Carell's character into it. If it had been a smaller part, it would have been fine. He wouldn't have been as annoying.
Yeah, and I think that's a good transition into some of my negatives. Being the screenplay, the script a little bit was one-sided, like we said, but it was also like dialogue felt forced a lot of the time. I think it could have been the dialogue or even some of the supporting actors, mainly being each of their respective love interests in the film, kind of dialed it in for me. I didn't think they did really a great job, or I guess it felt like they were acting at times when they shouldn't just be their characters.
Yes. Especially with everything involving Bobby Riggs was just kind of forced.
Yeah, and that's why I think you're correct in saying that if this was a film solely on her character, it would have been probably better overall, because then we would have had a little bit more time with her going through sexuality problems, her relationship with her husband being on the back burner for the most part, which is a really interesting dynamic, especially in contrast to what is really her love. Tennis, is it her relationships? I thought that was a really great part of the film that they kind of scooted
they
by.
made one passing comment. Larry King made one passing comment, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
So there's elements, I thought, the build-up to the end final tennis scene was great. It actually, I felt the tension.
I felt weird.
Yeah, I thought
like the actual tennis match was good. it was the lead up to it where they were both having their like training montage kind of thing where she was doing all this training and he was just mucking about, and then all of a sudden she's like really shitty.
Yeah.
Like they go from her super training and looking really awesome to she loses in like the second round in the next game, and it's like that felt a little out of place. Like maybe if you'd switch those around, it would have felt better. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, in a nutshell, my biggest problem is that it felt out of place, a little disjointed at times. It got a little boring. I'm going to be honest on that one. But I mean, it was overall a fine movie.
Not super long either.
No,
so it was kind of weird that it got boring.
slightly under 2 or slightly around 2 hours, if at 2 hours.
2 hours 1 minute.
Yep. So, but otherwise, this film was serviceable at best. All right, Damon, what are you going to rate this film?
I give it a 3.5 out of 5 or 7 out of 10. Either one.
Yep, and that's how I do mine. I do 7 out of 10. It's in theaters right now. Like we said, Battle of the Sexes. Go see it. Also, please check out our other reviews on Real Frame of Mind's YouTube channel, which I'll link above. And stay tuned for more movies.